Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturchio and Chris Gueci.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode and edition of the Mojo Market Report right here on a Monday. It is Monday, April the 10th, 2023. And, of course, as always, Dave Sturchio over here, Chris Gueci all the way over there. And we are having ourselves a fantastic Monday morning. How was your weekend, buddy? Easter, all that good stuff?
It was Easter this weekend?
Oh, boy. Yeah, that was yesterday.
No, yeah, it was great. It was great. The Easter Bunny stopped on by, dropped off a couple of Jordan cards for me, and I gave them away and whatnot. But that's literally what I did on Easter.
Wait. So, the real Easter Bunny?
Yeah, Dave, the real Easter Bunny hopped on by. No, he was like, you got some badass kids up in the house. We ain't stopping here.
All right, so you did a nice little giveaway. That's cool. I made it clear, and this is now a thing. Outside of the mall, even the mall Easter bunnies, it's like they don't. Santa is Santa, right? Santa's got the red and the beard and the hat and all that stuff, right?
I'm wondering where Dave's going here.
They don't know how to make a non-creepy bunny costume. My brother dressed up yesterday for the kids, and he comes out. It's like, first of all, it's like bodysuit filling, so it's like he's not like this big fluffy rabbit. It's him. And a head, right? I'm just like, dude, this is the creepiest thing in the world. My daughter, the smartest person in the world. At the end, we're driving home. She goes, Uncle Danny was the Easter Bunny. I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? She goes, she didn't use the word same. She goes, their shoes were similar.
Similar
three.
shoes.
She's 3. Anyway, yeah. Can we, upgrade the bunny costume going forward? Can we get a big round? Get me a fluffier bunny.
So Dave, do you realize that the Easter Bunny is for children 5 and under?
First of all, once I woke up this Sunday morning and realized that the Easter Bunny stuffed some of these eggs for my kids with goldfish, I was stiff-arming little kids around the place to find them in the backyard.
Your wife stuffed the
First
eggs full
you
of
got to
the
stop.
goldfish.
You have. Well, this show's over now because he doesn't believe in the Easter Bunny. But anyway, we hope everybody had a great weekend. There was a lot of sports to be had, as a matter of fact. In case anybody cares, John Rahm won the Masters. Did you watch? Okay, no Masters for Chris. Listen, the Masters are on at my house.
I watch sports, bro.
It's a tradition like no other. And I watched that, and it's crazy. 3 of the top 5
finishers. You just glossed over my golf is not a sport thing.
I totally glossed over that.
It is a sport, guys.
And it's going to be on Mojo one day. I could feel it.
What other sport do you know?
Which, what's funny? One of my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law's brother is one of the guys that work for the guys involved in the acquisition of Mojo.
There you go.
So, little tidbit there.
It is such a sport that, you could go out there and any given day, afternoon, maybe even early evening, see a 70-year-old on the links. Playing sports.
But in any event, 3 out of the top 5 finishers were live golf guys. So that's
so
racing.
They are allowed to play.
So in those, because this isn't a PGA thing. This is a Masters thing. It's a tradition like no other. As I've said that twice now. Anyway, so that happens. I got to give it up. Not ever giving credit to anything Boston related in my own fanhood, but the Boston Bruins also set an NHL record for most wins in a regular season. They get 63. They're going to be winning the old President's Trophy, but there is a President's Trophy curse. Do you know what the President's Trophy is, Chris?
It is for the team with the best record in the regular season.
Dude, this kid, he learns. He learns so fast. He's so witty.
Context clues.
Context clues.
I had no idea what that was until I guessed just now.
The NHL playoffs are going to be rolling on.
Which president is it? Is it Russian?
I
is
have
it the
no
Canadian
idea.
President?
Not
Do they
sure.
even have presidents
Not
in
really
Russia
sure
or
which
Canada?
president gets awarded this President's Trophy. You know what I did see as the weekend keeps rolling on here? I went and saw Air over the weekend. Fantastic. That's the new movie they created for Michael Jordan and courting a legend. So good. If you're a basketball fan and you want to get jazzed up for the NBA playoffs before they start on Tuesday night, I guess you only have today. Go out to the movies today. Go see Air. It was very, very good. What else? That's it. So let me get into, before we get into the NBA, we have to get into the NFL because yesterday, as it broke on Easter Sunday, OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. signs a 1-year deal with the Baltimore Ravens for $15 million, worth up to $18 million. Now, Chris, we've been talking about OBJ. We've been talking about the places that have been hosting him, courting him, whatever you call it, to try to get him on the team. There was rumors about the Jets that were involved. There was rumors that the Giants weren't out on Odell Beckham yet. Now all of a sudden, he puts on the purple. He signs the 1-year deal with the Ravens. Was it a money thing? Do you think he had other choices and he just chose the highest bidder? Because if you're looking at scheme fit right now, we've talked about the Ravens at length. I know there's a new offensive coordinator, but they're a run-first team.
Well, they're a run-first team. I think that Lamar's going to be a Raven. I've kind of stood on that this whole time. I don't think he goes anywhere. I don't know that further solidifies it. It's only a 1-year deal. It's not like they're like, hey, we got this young receiver for Lamar to work with for the next 3-4 years.
Right.
It's a 1-year deal. It is definitely a money thing for Odell, but I don't think it's a bad deal for the Ravens. I think, all things considered, they need to bring Lamar back for the deal to work, though, because if it's Tyler Huntley, then their offense is still going to stink. Their offense might stink anyway, even with Lamar throwing the ball. Who we don't know how it's going to play out. We don't know how the new OC is going to work out. It's a good deal. I think it's on par with what he should have gotten. Maybe a little expensive considering the injury. If it approaches 18, that means he had a really good season. So
yeah, his
then it will
incentives
become
are
worth
up.
it. If he has a trash season, he gets hurt, then obviously it was going to be a bad signing no matter what. Look around the league. You're looking at MVS getting 11 per. I mean,
Lazard,
I'm putting,
11 per.
Yeah, I'm putting Odell a notch above those guys coming off the injury. I'm not signing him long term, but a 1-year, $15 million deal. Look what Juju got.
Are we
last year.
even still allowed to
That's
say
the market.
Coming off the injury, considering it now it's like a year and a half ago?
100%. He hasn't played a football game since he got
I know,
injured.
but it's been like so long.
He's coming off an injury. Has he played in the NFL?
No.
Since rehab.
He hasn't even taken a rep. No, you're right. So I guess he is playing off the injury. But when I look at this deal, I look at the fact of situation. Now, I don't know if this solidifies Lamar for the long-term deal. This might solidify. Listen, there was a FaceTime. We all saw the picture. It's Odell and it's Lamar talking on FaceTime. Lamar tweeted that out. So there's obviously communication between the two, right? But the way I see it is this. He can technically play on this franchise tag with Odell. He can technically sign that tag and say, look, whatever, fine.
Yeah,
I'll ride this out.
I mean,
because you ain't going to give me my guaranteed money. Me and Odell are gone next year.
That's more potentially likely than him being traded.
Yeah, you would assume so now because it's just like, at this point, the draft is 3 weeks away. You know what I mean? Like, teams are in place to know where they're going with their quarterbacks.
Now, he can up and sign that at any point? There's no deadline that passed on that, right? Okay.
There's a deadline for the negotiation of a long-term deal. That's in July. So, like, that hits. Once that deadline hits, they can't renegotiate. They can't go to the table again until the season's over. There's a deadline in July.
See, I find that weird.
Why?
I mean, that means that there's literally at that point, I think that is a detriment to the player, even more so than the team, because you should be able to negotiate when if mid-season at that point he's playing well, and then it gives him a situation.
That's why they don't do it, so nobody has leverage.
Well,
either way, because he could also be playing like crap, and the Ravens are like, forget this. I'm so glad we didn't sign him.
But that's my point. That's what the Ravens' thought process is going into it. That's what it is. So it's like, I'm talking about they couldn't come up with a deal prior to. So now it's the season, right? And then Lamar, they're 8-0, right? Or even in Lamar's case, they're 8-0, right? And now he's like, well, now we're 8-0. I'm probably going to win MVP this season. Right now would be the best time for Lamar to negotiate.
Can't do it. It stinks. That's what it does. Is this detrimental to the player, like you said?
I can't. I feel like that's such a bad rule because it takes the ability for a player to be negotiated with for like a full year.
Yeah.
You know, at least when you're on the team, at any point you can negotiate.
Well, that's why they call this the franchise tag a placeholder for that first couple months. You got to franchise tag them in March. Then you have March, April, May, June, and July. 5 months to get a deal done. You can't get it done there, they don't want to do it anymore. So that's it. Like the NFL's like, go back to the drawing board after the season's played out for that sole purpose. And if he's balling out, he's not. You have to consistently when these guys bet on themselves, right? Dak Prescott, Aaron Judge in baseball, like they deny this money. They have to go the entire season. They have to.
Yeah, I mean,
it sucks.
But my point is, it's not the same for all sports because Aaron Judge could have signed a deal at any point this season.
I think that's just,
and it's not a franchise tag.
That's
I
agent
still don't
thing.
buy it.
What, you don't buy that rule?
I can't. I think it's
a real thing.
Like un-American.
It's a real thing.
It really is. Where you understand what I'm saying.
100%.
It's like they're just stuck in limbo because of a technicality when they're on a roster for the team.
It's not really a technicality. It's just a rule.
What would happen if they were like, yeah, we did negotiate What are you going to do? Tampering? Are they going to take the player away?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure they have conversations internally.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you're on our team.
There's just no open negotiations allowed, and there's no extensions
You're
allowed
like,
to
we're
be
not
given
allowed to
out.
sign this, but we're going to agree to it and sign it, but we're going to release it to Schefter.
I'm sure that's how it all actually gets done. But anyway, OBJ to possibly play with Lamar Jackson. We'll see how that plays out. Again, to me, and you've been saying it for a while now, but to me, this brings Lamar Jackson back to Baltimore.
He's on FaceTime with his new receiver, but he's not going there.
Yeah, unless he's like, yo, go there for the money. I'll see you in a year in Atlanta. I don't know. But I think this kind of puts it all together. It actually, obviously hasn't happened officially yet, but we all know what Lamar Jackson is asking for. So we all know that they're already ponied up for a receiver. After Bateman had went out and said, hey, listen, you haven't done anything for the receiving corps, and I'm still an all-star. I'm still that guy. So now Bateman becomes a number 2, which, by the way, actually, Bateman's probably still the number 1.
I mean, he hasn't done...
I don't think OBJ has the ability anymore to be a number 1.
I don't know that Bateman has had more than like 50 catches in a year yet.
That's fine, but he's got to pick it up.
He's got to pick it up, but I would say right now Odell is not being brought in at 15, potentially 18 mil to be the 2. I would say that he's wide receiver 1, but Bateman fits better into the slot role anyway, if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see, I guess.
Or did you look up Bateman's stats?
No, I was looking up Mecole Hardman. I was like, Hardman signed somewhere, but he signed with the Jets, yeah. Which, wow. Well, I mean, Lazard,
Mark Andrews, Dobbins, I don't know. They still got Gus Bus. Lamar, if Lamar goes back there, which he will. I mean, the offense is starting to look a lot better. I'm not quite sure how their offensive line shakes out after
not even that. You have to also look at the fact that these incentives that are on the back end of this deal, if you're OBJ, you're like, I'm not going to sniff some of these numbers because of the fact that they don't run that kind of offense.
Well,
under John Harbaugh's philosophy, I know they brought in the new OC, but it's like
I know. Admittedly, I know nothing about him. So, where's he from? What has he done with his career so far up to this point? What kind of numbers are they putting up offensively?
Right.
There's a lot of questions to be asked there, because maybe the Ravens are starting to see like we have to change our philosophy a little bit because we don't have our quarterback anymore. So we got to throw it more.
Todd Monken, the new offensive coordinator for the Ravens. He is the offensive coordinator for the Georgia Bulldogs, back-to-back years, championship season. So that's where.
So I know even less about his.
That's where he's coming from. So we'll see how that all plays out. But again, the Lamar watch, Aaron Rodgers watch, it's all happening right here on the Mojo market. We got to watch them. Got to figure out what they're doing. So now it is on to officially the NBA playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. It is time. We finally got the final seedings. First, before I go into anything else, I got to give you these numbers now. Now, after you watch a movie like Air, right? The last quote of the movie is like, they show you where everybody wound up. Like all the, this guy wound up doing this and this guy doing this. And the Michael Jordan one was the last one. Like Michael Jordan went on to become the greatest basketball player of all time. And that's how the movie ends. And you're like, yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. LeBron James finishes year 20 with 28.9 points a game, 8.3 rebounds a game, 6.8 assists a game, and shot 50% from the field. In year 20.
It's tough. Like, you can not like LeBron. He flops. He this.
Did you see? I mean,
I don't care.
I know.
Well, so he did what everyone in the NBA does, and he's in the NBA? No way. I can't believe that guy.
Son of a gun. But anyway, LeBron finishes year 20 with outstanding numbers.
It's hard to argue it. I mean, it's not hard to argue the GOAT. It's just like LeBron. It's just enough is enough. We're not here to do the GOAT debate. That would be crazy.
There's nobody that's going to do this for 20 years.
There is no LeBron
ever
without
again.
Jordan.
I don't think.
There is no, Jordan turned the NBA into what it is today in terms of the market, all that type of thing. So, I remember watching.
He saved Nike basketball.
I would never be who I am today if I didn't watch Michael Jordan's Playground.
So you want to be like Mike? That's how you do it. But anyway, congrats to LeBron. Curious to know where he.
So you have a LeBron stat. I know that this is baseball. Basketball. I'm about to give a baseball stat.
Okay.
So Barry Bonds' season.
Which one?
His season, the one.
The 73
right?
or whatever.
The one. He was walked a certain, I think 300 and something times. His on base percentage was like 500 points higher than the next guy, right?
Right?
So if Barry Bonds, he had, I believe, 373 at bats that season. If he struck out or got out in every single one of the at bats that considered plate appearances and not walks or intentional walks, he would have still led the majors in on-base percentage if he was if
Are
he
you
batted
serious?
0.
That's how many. That's insane.
He could have batted 0, folks.
Yeah, that
and
means
led the majors
never
in
get a
on-base
hit
percentage.
ever. But anyway, that is pretty insane.
Man.
Can't
So
wait till
Barry
baseball
Bonds.
is dropped on the Mojo market. By the way, I'll be all in on some of these the rookies and the prop bets and all that
It's an
stuff.
insane stat.
That is really ridiculous, actually, when you think about it. It's
He
like
could have gone hitless. He had 170 hits that year. If he had 0, he would have led baseball in on-base percentage.
it's a lot of walks.
Barry Bonds, ladies and gentlemen, non-Hall of Famer.
Yeah, don't get me started there. We do have a play-in. Playoffs are set, and it starts tomorrow night. It'll go Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Friday night, and then the playoffs will start on Saturday, where my beloved New York Knicks get to start their series at Cleveland on Saturday night at 6 o'clock. But looking at the Eastern Conference, speaking of them, this is how it all shook out. The 10-9 game is the Chicago Bulls visiting the Toronto Raptors. Now, to me, the Bulls have been one of those inconsistent teams all year round. I mean, they've obviously made this, but again, keep in mind that the loser of this game, of both 9-10s, will be entered into the lottery. So clearly, we all saw the NBA actually launched an investigation on the Mavericks. Did you see that on the roster they released the other day on a Friday night? Like, we're not tanking, but we're also not playing anybody. It's like nobody played. I was like, wait a minute, time out, hold on. So there's an investigation of an actual tanking done by Mark Cuban over there, which I'm not a fan of that at all. If you had a chance to be in the postseason, if you're an owner of a basketball team, which he is, and he's the whatever else titles he has over there, think about it like this. If you get into the play-in tournament, you have a chance to win one game, more than likely on the road, but then you get all those home games, concessions, ticket sales. Dallas would be a frenzy. Why do that for a possible bingo ball?
I think they would have gotten bounced. They might have gotten a game or two. They would have gotten 2 games out of it. They might have lost in the play-in. Understanding, I'm not advocating for tanking.
I don't know. Didn't rub me the right way.
Here's what I know. Luka was really hurt. So without Luka, if the injury, like, we don't know what's going on, bro. Like, I've been injured before where it's like basketball. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? And Luka's probably been like that for the last, 2 months. And he's playing through it. It got to the point where it's like we have some real decisions to make because, A, our star player's hurt.
Right.
Kyrie's also hurt.
He's banged up.
We have a couple other guys that are on their way out, and they're probably mailed it in because it's like we understand what's happening here. Christian Wood says he's leaving. So
there was rumors about Luka being moved.
The team that had expectations and fell flat this year, it makes sense that there's really like a bad buzz, a bad vibe going around the locker room. Get rid of it, kind of blow things up a little bit, reassess things in free agency, get your guys rehabbed up, and we also might get a better pick out of the deal by tanking and keeping the pick from the Knicks and all those good things.
That's the whole shebang.
You can sit here and point the finger all you want, but all I would do is be like, well, it's game 82. Look at the injuries. Look what we got going on. Talk to my doctor. It would be an easy fix for me. And even if they're like, yeah, they may or may not have, there's no way that they're going to actually prove it. And even if they do, what's the punishment? Didn't the Knicks and the Mavericks have a little beef last year where the Knicks tampered? So I think it's almost like a little gamesmanship where it's like, hey, you guys talked to Brunson last year before you were able to. Guess
Remember
what?
that time you thought you were going to have our pick? Watch again, son.
So to me, is it frowned upon? If you're a Knicks fan in this situation, it should be. But
maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I'm driving this home a little hard.
Fan, I'm like, yeah, it's a smart move.
Yeah. Anyway, we were talking about the Eastern Conference, Chicago at Toronto, and of course the Atlanta Hawks to go to Miami. Who do you like in both of those games?
All right, so
you
say them again because
Chicago at Toronto.
I was still thinking about I still like Toronto.
Yeah, I like Toronto there, and of course Atlanta to play Miami.
Miami, baby, I'm a Heat fan.
Yeah, but
I'm Heat and Hornets are my 2. Okay. For a fact. But I don't give a if they lose, I'm like, oh, well, who's next? Who do I like next?
And then Miami would play Toronto.
Miami.
Both teams get in, but one drops to the 8. Interesting. All right, in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the 10 seed, taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. OKC for me has not. They don't really move the needle for me. I like the Pelicans here. I would love to see that young team get in right now because it'll be exciting.
I mean, both teams are young and good. They're to me, they kind of line up as very similar.
Well, they're 9-10, yeah.
Fitting that They're both playing each other. They both have a young star that will be implemented into the situation if Zion ever gets his shit together. And then, obviously, Chet Holmgren. So both teams have reason to be excited for going forward. It might be best whichever team loses.
Right.
Just kind of mail it in. Zion's not there, so they're done either way. I wouldn't mind seeing the Lakers win and then play the Pelicans, or however it could work out where the Pelicans play the Lakers.
Yeah, it looks like the game 3, which is Friday night, the winner of the 9-10 will take on the loser of the 7-8. So the 7-8, the 8. If the 7 loses that game, they just drop to 8, and that's it. Like they're not getting penalized.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Timberwolves. Interesting conversation to be had real quick because of what happened yesterday. Did you see that whole thing? Can this guy just stay out of the media? Like Rudy Gobert has been one of the guys that you want to. I won't. I'm trying to be as nice as possible, but dude, just. Go away. Like,
I love it.
How do you love that? How do you love that?
Yeah, whatever. He didn't punch him in his mouth.
He punched him in his chest. I think he tried to punch him in the mouth.
I mean, it was like how I would punch my brother when my mother was separating a fight when we were kids. That wasn't a real fight. Come on, give me a break. It isn't. He is maybe a bad teammate because there was mic'd up hot mic moments after the game where Kyle's like, y'all got a decision to make, and it's like, well, he's not wrong. You should maybe grab a rebound. He's like, you're like 6'10", and you had 4 in your whole career. And Rudy Gobert seems to be a pretty good shot blocker. So in terms of basketball acumen and skill sets, Kyle Anderson's a set shooter on the outside. He's like a stretch 4 that is slow. Nice player, but I mean, if the decision is made, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm the GM, I'm going with the shot blocker.
The Timberwolves will visit the LA Lakers, who do not get the easy road. But I personally, with the disarray happening in Minnesota, I think the Lakers win by 20. I think the Lakers are going to spark them real bad. And look, again, Minnesota Timberwolves within Mojo. You don't want to root against them. But
the other, was it Hunter?
I forget.
Punched the wall?
Oh,
broke his hand?
Yeah, he did.
Or,
no, it's in the headlines. It's literally in the ESPN headlines today.
I mean,
let me see here. No, it's a good chance for the internet to go out. This is perfect. But anyway, so that's the play-in series, and obviously the rest of the playoffs will go down starting Saturday. So we're going to get the play-in playoffs, then the real playoffs. It'll be exciting. We're all covering it.
Oh, Jaden McDaniels.
Yes. So be sure to head on over to your Mojo app right now. Check out the futures. Check out the NBA lines. Check out all that stuff. It's going to be littered with stuff to go and get yourself involved in to try to make some money throughout the course of this week. Remember, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, play-in series, and then obviously the real shebang starts on Saturday. The Nets are in. The Nets got a chance. We're gonna preview the playoffs. I guess towards the end of the week, where we can actually pick some winners and pick a champion here, because by Friday's show, we'll know the 2 teams that are more than likely involved the rest of the way, right? So we'll be able to make a better assessment there. But the only thing that really excites me is to see LeBron in this action in the play-in series. And again, I think this is good for the NBA. I know he was one of the ones that advocated against this, but yeah. So.
It's his second time in 3 years he's in it, though.
Right, so. Exactly. All right, well, anyway, let's get out of here. Follow us right now on all sorts of social media. It is the Instagram, the Twitter, and the TikTok at Mojo. Mojo is the way to find us. And, of course, join the Discord. That's the everyday conversation to be had. And, of course, do that. Get yourself involved. Get yourself involved right now on the Mojo app. Download it. It's available on both the iTunes Store and Google Play or the Apple Store. One day, I'll get that right. But you know the idea. You know the gist already. If you don't have the app by now and you've been watching us since September, then you're missing out on something. So for Dave Sturchio, Chris Gueci, this has been another episode of the Mojo Market Report. Back here tomorrow with official game picks of these play-in series with some spreads and some props and everything that we want to get involved in. And, of course, any NFL news that drops over the course of the next 24 hours, we got you covered right here. See you guys tomorrow.